Burr Bros. Boats has provided state-of-the-art servicing and maintenance here in Marion, Massachusetts. It's now the premier destination for boat care. But don't take it from me, there's a whole staff of talented and amazing individuals right here in the boatyard. Let's go and meet them. We're here with Mike from Burr Bros. Boats in the spray booth. And Mike, what makes this the premier spray booth on the East Coast?
Well, first it's the size of the booth. We handle boats up to 70 foot in length, 35, 40 foot in width. It's a great environment. It's all controlled, humidity controlled, heat controlled, heated floor and so forth. Really nobody can match what we can do as far as environment for painting a boat.
What are you doing for customers when they bring their boats into the spray booth?
We first ask what the customer really wants and try and identify things like boot stripes and cove stripes, colors and so forth. We evaluate the boat, the condition, fiberglass, how much work needs to be done to prepare the boat for paint. And then we have choices of different types of paints and so forth to use.
Mike, can you explain to us what we're looking at here and how it creates the perfect environment for painting?
Our booth is set up with blowers, supply blowers, and furnaces for controlling the temperature coming into the booth. And we also have exhaust blowers on the other end that removes the air. It creates a perfect environment because it creates a huge volume of air to move through the room, which removes the spray, but it's done only in volume and the velocity is much slower. So you can't even, when you're in there spraying, you don't really feel like a breeze. You just feel the air, the air is just removing the spray away from the boat, the overspray, which is important. That's what gives us such a great paint job.
Rick, we're here inside a 36-foot northern bay where you're doing a full engine replacement. And my first question has to be, how did you get this engine in here?
Well, this particular engine had to be disassembled prior to installing it and then reassembled when it was installed inside the boat.
And I see around here you've done a lot to protect this boat.
Yeah, we don't want to cause any damage. If we can prevent it, we're going to prevent the damage.
What goes into that project?
What goes into it? Mm-hmm. Well, we have to set up an A-frame assembly through the windows and running aft through the boat, which is quite an extensive process in itself. And then we use a crane. Well, we use a hoist to hoist the engine up, slide it out to the back deck. We set it down. We have a crane that'll come pick the engine up and set it down on the ground, and reverse procedure coming back in.
I'm here with Jeff Harrison, Master Technician, and we're standing in front of the outboard shop. My first question is, how big of a boat can you move into this space, Jeff?
I believe we've had a 42-footer in here.
And what about the construction of this shop really streamlines the maintenance of boats for Burr Bros.?
First of all, especially as the temperature gets colder, it's nice that we can bring them in to work, and we get all our tools in here. We got electric hoist, a drive-in test tank. Just makes life much easier. We can roll our carts around with the tide surfaces and all that, so it's been making it a big improvement for us.
The drive-in test tank looks very technical. What does that do in terms of servicing and maintenance?
Well, in many cases we don't have to launch the boat and go out for a mile ride out, so we can just back it in there, especially if it's not a real super high speed situation, if it's just idling conditions. So we were able to put it in there, just run it, do all our testing, hook everything all up with a computer and gauges and all that, and just stay right here in the shop.
You guys are constantly learning and innovating new ways to take care of boats and service them. So what goes into that training for you and your team as a master technician?
The technology is changing all the time. Leaps and bounds, it seems like, and so it's pretty crucial to keep updated.
We're in the inboard mechanical shop where there's a lot of work happening just to the right of us. Ryan, people think of the boatyard, they think of the sheds. What do you guys do in here?
Well, in here we do a lot of diagnostics, rebuilding, and then a lot of the kind of the paperwork side of things gets done up here. Parts, cleaning of things. We also have a spray booth, a mechanical spray booth in the back corner where we sandblast things, paint parts.
How far does that go in maintaining the boat and making sure that the owners get the most value that they can out of it?
It goes very far.
Scott, the mooring department might be a part of the boatyard that people don't see as much. What do you do for the customers here at Burr Brothers?
I install moorings and I maintain them from beginning to end, make them up completely, put them in the fall. The lines all come out and the winter sticks get put on so that the ice can't damage the lines, and that way the lines can be inspected, repaired, new ones be made up over the winter. In the springtime, they go back out. I got a helper who makes the changeovers. All these mooring pennants, is 400 of them. I've made every one of them 2, sometimes three times over.
Katie, we're out here on the launch at Burr Brothers Boats. What kind of service can customers expect when they say, hey, this is an awesome day, just like today, to go out on my boat?
So if you wanted to visit Burr Brothers and come into the harbor, maybe pick up one of our mooring balls or come to the dock, you can hail us on channel 68, and we always have someone available on the radio that can escort you to a mooring or provide you with dock space depending on what we can accommodate for that day. And we do have a full range of amenities as far as fuel and ice, and anywhere in town is a pretty short walkable distance, so you could go grab a bite to eat or just check out Marion.
Beautiful. Thank you, Katie. Chad, we're here in the rig shop. So what is it that you do to service customers' boats?
We do a little bit of everything, from routine maintenance, cleaning up winches, servicing steering and stuff like that, to making new rigging, making new halyards, installing new winches. What just depends on what the customer wants. We try to accommodate everybody and do whatever we can to make them happy.
What sort of services can you provide a transient?
So if a transient comes in and they broke a lifeline or they lost a shroud or a piece of rigging, we keep wire on hand. We keep terminations for the wire on hand. So we can make it up and have them on their way in a matter of hours most of the time.
What's different about the way that Burr Brothers stores boats when you bring them out of the water this time of year?
So as far as the boats go, it's up to the customer as to whether they store inside, outside, heated, cold storage, whatever. But the rigs, every rig, once we unstep it, comes out of the boat, we break it down, inspect the mast, and then they all get stored inside. So that way, they spend 6 months of the year out of the elements. It helps extend the life of the rigging, the halyards, and the paint on the spars.
What does that do in terms of maintaining the value of your boat?
It definitely is a help with maintaining the value of the boat. Your halyards aren't in the weather all the time. The weather just destroys the halyards. The sun's horrible on the rigging and the paint. So having it inside for that half a year really helps save the life of it.
We're here in the carpentry shop with Charlie, who's worked for Burr Brothers Boats for more than 30 years. What kind of work are you doing for customers?
It can be anything from building cabinets to replacing different parts on a boat, cabin soles, new electronics installations. Usually we need to rework the display area, and we really do strive to produce something that looks like it belongs in their boat and something that they'll be happy with, both in terms of the quality of the work, the craftsmanship, and in terms of materials, the finish on the finished product.
We're here in front of Sippican Harbor at Burr Brothers Boats with President Tucker Burr. So Tucker, you grew up running around this boatyard and now you're set to take it over. What do your customers mean to you?
Our customers mean a lot to us. We've been working with a lot of them for many years, decades, sometimes even generations themselves. We work really hard to make sure everyone get out in Buzzards Bay and the surrounding areas safely and doing everything that they want to do. It's been a fantastic group of people worked with for many years.